Hey everybody, this is Bruce with Forest Friend. We're going to do a little sharpening today. What we're sharpening today are carcass saws. These are used by our local butcher shop here in Kyoto. It's very difficult for them to get new blades and actually to get them sharpened anymore because the splitting saw that they use is pretty old and well, nobody really makes them anymore. But this one here is a coarse blade. Does a really good job on the large beef. We have finer blades that we use for hogs. They also have blades for breaking down carcasses into smaller pieces. I'm going to give this one a try. I don't know if I can sharpen this. It's stainless, so it might not sharpen. But it's been quite a challenge. I acquired all this equipment from an old gentleman here in town. He's had it for, well, since 78, I think he said. And he did a lot of sharpening over the years. He's 93 years old now, and he figured, well, it's time to move it on. There's a lot of this that I can use, like the 357. I can sharpen my carbide blades, and I go through quite a few carbide blades using the firewood processor. This little fella, it's kind of hard to find information on. It's a 375, and it came with a chainsaw chain attachment. I did one chain with it, and with not knowing how to set it up or anything, I was able to get a pretty sharp chain. With this wheel on there, it seemed like I could only get a square cut chain, which is fine for soft woods. The hardwoods, you want a little bit more hook to it, I think. So, well, we're actually going to use the Foley 387 today and show you how that works. It's a filing machine for this type of blade. It typically works just on handsaw blades, like you'd see, you know, Finnish carpenters used to use back in the day. Everybody and their dog had a handsaw, whether it was a rip saw or a crosscut saw, and that's just how they framed and did their carpentry back in the day. Where today we all have, you know, cordless tools, and, you know, just throw a circular blade in it and away you go. But when you're dealing with old stuff, you got to use old stuff. This Foley 387 is from, I believe, looking at the numbers, is 1961 is when it was produced. So it works really good. We'll give her a try today. One of the first steps of setting up the filer, the 387, is getting the blade in there correctly. It runs on there's a straight bar that you mount your blade to, and these little stops here adjust how deep or high the blade will set. It's kind of hard to see, but this little gadget hooks on this bar, and then you'll put it down in the valley of the tooth, tighten the little gizzy down, and then you clamp it in position. This little clamp here, it just holds the saw blade You don't make it too tight. You can adjust it so that you can move it in and out. I've got this side set. I'm going to set this other side using this. It's a little darker on this side, but you might be able to see it. There we go. Got another little guy there. If you hang on a minute. Sometimes it takes two hands to do things. So what I did is I brought the stop into position there in the valley. Tighten the clamp, which holds the blade in for me. And then I can move the blade holders into position. Had to take the wing nut off of this one and the other one at the other end, because when I was doing the real coarse blade, the valley was so deep for setting it on the machine, the wing nut was getting in the way of the vise. So we'll just snug this little fella up. There we go. I've already figured out what the angle is. That's one of the tough parts with these carcass blades, is figuring out what the angle is of the tooth, and it's not a very it's not a very overdeveloped cut. It's just basically square cut. That's all it is. There's no angles to it except for the angle of the tooth. And that, I think that was about 62 degrees. Took me a little figuring. Using this machine the correct way, like on a handsaw, you know, that has set teeth and there's angles on the teeth. There's right side, left side of the tooth. This here is just a straight cut, so it was kind of a unusual setup. So I had to determine the angle of this, set the angle of the file so that we're doing 62 degrees all the way. Once we get it square on this side, we'll flip the blade around, do the other side. Take these little guides off there. And this is a pretty handy little tool or file, really. You can check to make sure you're in position by a hand crank without messing anything up. Test to make sure you're on par right there. And then this one here, the on-off switch, is just basically this wire hooked to a switch, and you let her go. What I'm watching for is it just hitting that face of that tooth, and that kind of progresses through there. This is a tapered file, so it kind of pulls it through. You can see it moves just a little bit as the file goes through. There it is. I'll set up the camera and we'll swap her around. So to start over on the other side, I've already flip the blade end for end. You loosen the vise. Make sure your little finger here is up. You start her back at the beginning. I always like to hand crank that first one, make sure that I'm in the position correctly. Come ahead just a little. Let that finger set that first tooth in position. Let her come down. Perfect. And we'll just turn her on and let her run. Awesome. Now sometimes by using this extra light, I can watch as the file goes along. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 teeth that didn't really get all the way to the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run it through a couple more times. And we'll get the entire tooth from gullet all the way up. There again, I'll start out. So we get that first one. It's just right. I'll give you a quick view from this side. Try not to bore you to death watching the little finger push it ahead, the file pull it through. So we'll just do a few teeth this side. see how we did this time. It's probably difficult for you to see, but what I'm really looking for is shiny on the tooth all the way to the top. And I'll tell you what, it feels pretty sharp. It looks pretty good. We're going to throw a little extra light on there. See what we got. Oh yeah, took it all the way from the gullet all the way to the tip. That blade's ready to go. I did do a couple test blades for him, and the butcher was telling me that he's already did 10 beef the other day with one of the blades. It was one of the coarse ones, and he says it's working pretty good, so he's happy with it. We'll oh man, that's got a nice edge on it. Well, we'll call this sharp. So for a wet, kind of rainy day here in December, can't be out in the timber. It's kind of muddy out there. It's by the sawmill. Being inside, sharpening things up, sharpening your own tools, sharpening other people's tools, just keeps the things going. You can always find something to do on the inside, and if it's productive, that's even better. That's what I feel like I'm doing with these tools that I acquired from old Merlin, and real shout out to him. He's been a good fella to me, very active old fella, good guy. One of my towns, I'd say, just good people. You know, these small towns here in the middle of our country is full of people like him. Instill knowledge in other people. He gave me not only the tools, but he gave me some knowledge that he had, and I believe that's very important, that we listen, take time, and try to figure out how somebody did get to 93 years old. It doesn't just come because you're living and breathing. It comes because he's a hard worker, and I like to see that instilled in other people. So I appreciate it from old Merlin, and well, I guess being it's pretty close to Christmas, I'll say Happy Easter. No, Merry Christmas. Hope everybody has a safe, great holiday. You know, get the family together. As long as the cops aren't called, it's all good, isn't it? That's the way I look at it. So have a great holiday and a great new year. Looking forward to 24, what is it? Yeah, 24 coming up. Hopefully we can make a lot more videos and share a lot of what we're doing here at Forest a Friend. I've had good responses from folks. I think we're at about 150 subscribers. You know, I think that's pretty good for some hillbillies out here in the middle of nowhere. Leave a comment. I like to hear them. I try to comment back. We've got folks from Canada commenting, and there was some German guy that commented. I didn't know what he was saying, but you know, with the help of Google, I was able to figure out what he was saying. So, till next year, have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time. This is the old school splitting saw we use here at Kyoto Meat Processing. And this is the blade that goes in this old saw. If anybody recognizes one of these, they are looking for another one, because these are about the best splitting saws around. Thanks again.